Hey y'all, afternoon. This is Sarge. Today I wanted to talk about nine lives and a higher purpose in life. So, one of the things about me is that I've had quite a number of episodes where probably should have died or had serious injury. The first one, I was 16 and a buddy of mine had just gotten his license. He got a Plymouth Duster. And he came and asked if my buddy and I wanted to go for a ride with him. It was he and his brother. So we said, yeah, got in the back of his car. His brother was in the front. And we headed off. And as you may know, a Plymouth Duster was a fast car. So we're flying down. I grew up in West Virginia. We're flying down these back roads and curvy, hilly. So long story short, we jumped a hill, hit a curve, he lost control, and crashed head on into a tree that was wider than the car. The tree was up a bank, and we rolled over and landed upside down in the road. Well, back in those days, the cars had lap belts, but most people didn't wear them, and that applied to us. So the car comes to rest on its roof, and we check and we're all fine. Get out of the car. We had to break the windows because that was a tough old car. We get out and hey, we're fine. The second was it's probably 18 in high school, and I'm old enough where you could drink in high school. So I had been on this medicine called Retin-A for acne, and it caused a lot of side effects, one of which it dried my skin out and made my skin crack and bleed. So I stopped taking it. One thing they warned about was not drinking while you're on this medicine. So I went about a month and didn't drink. And one night we went down, about a month later after I stopped, we went down to a party at the quarry. We used to go down there and jump off the cliffs into the quarry. And I was drinking, and next thing I know, I woke up in the back of a car, and everyone around me was crying. And I was like, what the heck? So turns out I had stopped breathing, and one of the guys who was there, a football player, had evidently given me CPR and revived me. Yeah, not proud of that one, folks. But a third one was I was about 20, and my dad and I were going to Dallas to watch the Redskins play the Cowboys at Texas Stadium. So about a week prior to that, there had been a Delta aircraft that had flown into Dallas. It hit one of those micro downbursts and crashed into a fuel storage off on the left side of the plane. And this one, it's nothing. Well, there was we were there a week later and flying by, and I happened to look out the left, and I saw the exact spot where that plane had crashed. And just at that second, our plane took a thump, and we dropped a few hundred feet, and it got really bumpy, and we were bouncing up and down, and finally the pilot got control, and we landed. And only flight I've ever been on where all the passengers clapped at the landing. So long story short, nothing happened, but that was pretty scary. Another time I was leaving a girlfriend's house. She lived about an hour from me, and it was late at night, very late, and we had been out and about all day. And so I was going home, and as I'm going home, fell asleep at the wheel. And next thing I know, I hit a guardrail off on the right side of the car. It jolts me awake, luckily awake enough that I got control of the car. It was a Subaru all-wheel drive, thankfully. And I managed to get control of the car and go on. But it scared me enough that I pulled over and, had to get my wits about me. Another time, I was driving home from college, same said Subaru, and it was on a back road, and I was, I guess, a little bit of a hellion, and my goal was always to do at least double whatever the recommended speed limit on a curve was. So this speed limit was 25, and I was going 55. I hit the curve. My Subaru did a 360, and I continued down the road. Good thing I was in a Subaru. Another story is a stroller incident. I'm a big runner. So when my third child was born, I got some time off of work, and I took the jogging stroller we had with 2 kids in it, my 2 older kids, and I was jogging, and about a mile into the jog, and next thing I know, I wake up in the middle of the street. Luckily, it was a neighborhood, and it was on a cul-de-sac, so it wasn't, it was on a street that was a cul-de-sac, but we weren't in the cul-de-sac. So woke up in the middle of the street, and I woke up and I said, first thing I thought, like, what happened? Where am I? Like, even kind of, who am I? And I started looking around, and I looked behind me, and I see the stroller upside down in the middle of the street. And so I was like, oh, shoot. And I ran back, and that's one of those things of superhuman strength. I picked the stroller up with my 2 kids in it and flipped it over. And my 2 kids were bloody, blood gushing out of their heads. I had blood gushing out of my head. My fingers were bloody. So I gathered us up. I took the youngest of the 2, put him on my shoulders, and my daughter, I carried her as long as I could, and that lasted about a quarter of a mile, and I finally told her she had to walk. We walked through these neighborhoods. I was dazed. I did see a few people. You would think if people saw a man and 2 children and they were all bloody that they would offer assistance, but no. So I managed to get myself and my 2 children into my neighborhood, got to the house, knocked on the front door. My wife opened the door, well, the garage door. I started crying and collapsed on the floor. She freaked out, rushed us to the hospital. Turns out they said I didn't have a concussion. I don't know that I believe that, but we got multiple stitches, all 3 of us. Survived that one. The final 2 things, I've had blood clots 3 times. Now I'm on Xarelto for life. The first blood clot was caused by a boot given to me by a military doctor, and with lack of enough explanation. Kind of my fault, kind of his fault. Anyway, second time I got a blood clot. I didn't know I had it, of course. Was walking around with it. I was doing some tree work, chopping down a tree and digging up the stump. And so I'm carrying the wood back and forth, and as I'm walking to where I'm dropping off the wood, I nearly collapse. That's where I went to my wife and said, something's wrong. Went to my doctor, and the doctor said, like, he knew that I had a prior blood clot, so he made me go to the hospital right away, where I got a CT scan. Sure enough, pulmonary embolism in my lung, a big one. And I knew when the doctor called me at home at like 7 p.m. that it was not good. So he told me the news. Went on Xarelto. Was on that for a year. The doctor and I had discussions. I feel like he should have just put me on it for life then. But he gave me the option, and of course I took the option of a year. So fast forward about a year and 2 months, come home from work one day and feel a sharp pain in my calf, and I just told my wife, yeah, I need to go to the ER. And sure enough, got there, blood clot in my leg, and they as well did a CT scan, and I had bilateral pulmonary embolisms. So they gave me the immediate Lovenox shot in the belly button. It's actually not as bad as it sounds. Anyway, I believe after the third or fourth of those, I started getting this feeling, like maybe everyone would get this feeling, but that I had a higher purpose in life. I'm not sure I still figured that out. I still have that strong feeling. I feel like I do have a stronger purpose and a higher purpose in life. Maybe in light of recent events in the U.S. that, will come to fruition, that I can help out and somehow calm people. Let me know what you think. Anybody else have these types of experiences? Anybody else feel like they have a higher purpose in life but can't figure it out? If you did and you did figure it out, let me know how you did it. Anyway, that's it for today. Sarge out.